Hi everyone, today is January 12th, 2020, 1:30 p.m. I'm here with Tom Delgado. He's a stand-up comedian, YouTuber, and tour guide for New York City. And today we're going to do a walk of the Bushwick neighborhood in Brooklyn.
Yeah, that's me. How's it going?
All right.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Start walking?
All right, so first off, we have this amazing street art. It says, "Let it go."
So right now we're walking on Moore Street. We're closer to the Morgan L stop, that L subway stop.
Oh, this is pretty neat. It's like a spider.
We're actually walking by Roberta's, which is a really popular pizza place here. It opened in 2008. It's like one of the most famous pizzerias in the city. They also had like a Democratic fundraiser here in 2012 where the Clintons came. And so afterwards, in 2016, they got like lots of harassing phone calls from the Pizzagate thing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. But yeah, this is a really, really popular pizza
Oh,
place.
man.
It's one of the first reasons people, I guess, from Manhattan at least, started coming out here to get pizza at this place. Over here to the right, actually, is the Boar's Head, one of the Boar's Head plants, old Boar's Head plants. Boar's Head's the meat company.
Uh-huh.
Started in Brooklyn, actually. Boar's Head started in Brooklyn in the early 1900s, and this plant was here since the 1930s.
Wow, I never knew that.
Yeah, look at that, man. You're learning stuff. That's the whole idea.
I never knew Boar's Head's from New York.
Yep. It's not centered here anymore, but it started here. Over here you have the Bogart. The Bogart. It's like artist lofts. Bogart, get it? Wow.
Oh.
Yeah, so they're artist lofts. So you can rent them, big spaces, big windows. It used to be industrial. This whole neighborhood really was industrial back in the day. We'll get into that, don't you worry. So we're walking on Bogart now. The Morgan L is over there. The Morgan Avenue L is over there. L train. So now we're walking up Grattan. There's some more art up here on the right. But also, too, you have a lot of these buildings going up, like this one to the left. A lot of fancier apartments and condos going up. Next to the Bogart, you see them? All fancy and shiny, more expensive. This is a big part of Bushwick, like a very popular part of Bushwick. It's booming, it's becoming more expensive to live. Developers are scooping up some of these old industrial spots. They're getting rezoned for residential and they're building condos and stuff. Here to the right is a place called Pine Box Rock Shop, really cool barn. Vegan-friendly dog training. Look at those pups.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a really cool barn. We have like shows and stuff here as well. A lot of comedy shows.
Please just bury me in a pine box.
Yep. I've performed here, no big deal. So we'll keep on moving here.
Beware of the loose trash bags. What place is this?
I think this place is pretty new, actually. I've never been here.
Oh, wow.
It looks very fancy, though.
SCY, I guess that's the name of the place.
So this neighborhood, I've been doing comedy in this neighborhood for a little while, and back like, 9 years ago, there wasn't a whole lot out here, like restaurant-wise and stuff like that, at least fancy restaurants like that. There was a lot of stuff out here and cool stuff to do, but it was nothing like that. So it's been developed a lot recently. Cool neighborhood, popular for a few things. We'll see some other things on this walk today.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of
Especially the
background.
street art.
Yeah, a lot of cool street art we'll see once we get a little further down. So a little bit of background too. I guess a lot of people don't really know a whole lot about these neighborhoods. Bushwick actually used to be one of the most dangerous neighborhoods in the entire city. Back in 1977, there was a really bad blackout in New York, and the whole city blacked out, right? And so because the city was in financial crisis, it was the summer of Sam, or the son of Sam, the summer of the son of Sam, sorry, the murderer who's on the loose. It was just a really tense time in the city. When the blackout happened, there was riots and also looting all over the city, and especially the poorer parts. But in Bushwick, there was the most amount of arrests in the entire city, which is saying a lot. Like tattoo parlors like this one here. Tattoo. All right, we're gonna get Action Kid tattoos today.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? on my forehead.
Or if you want, you could buy some of my merch down below.
Yeah, if you don't want something as committed, maybe just buy some merch instead. So all this, we're walking, we're actually walking kind of east right now. We're gonna take a right here on Knickerbocker. By the way, the word Knickerbocker, like New York Knicks, the basketball team.
Oh.
Yeah. It actually derives, Knickerbocker is how they would refer to families that were descendants of the original Dutch settlers of New Amsterdam. So Knickerbocker families, like, you know, yeah, so that's where the name comes from. That could trace their lineage to the original families that came here, like the Vanderbilts, etc.
Knickerbocker.
Yep, that's where the name comes from. And it was actually coined by an author, Washington Irving. You may know Washington Irving as the author of Sleepy Hollow. That's Washington Irving. He coined the term. So we're walking now. We took a right on Knickerbocker. You can see a lot of the buildings too are covered in graffiti and things like that. Like I said, these buildings have been here for a little bit, and they're not as maintained. And like I said before too, a lot of these owners are waiting for them to get bought out and scooped up for a lot of money and then developed, which is, you know, it is what it is, I guess.
8 strips.
I'll talk about the street art a little bit. But you can see up here on the right, another thing that this neighborhood is famous for is the vintage and thrift shop, shopping. This one is L Train Vintage, a very popular one. It's got a bunch, like a mini franchise now.
L Train Vintage.
There's a bunch of them. So the people from L Train Vintage go all over the country and they buy stuff from pawn shops, from vintage shops, from Goodwills, and then they put their collection, and they sell it here and in other places. You have Urban Jungle as well. This one is, I think it's owned by L Train Vintage.
But
it's
there's
really
another
popular.
vintage place here.
Yeah, there's a few. It's like a really popular thing to do here.
The Urban Jungle.
Yep.
Morgantown.
Oh, yeah.
Another thing to keep in mind too, that a lot of people don't realize when they visit New York, is that Brooklyn is one of 5 boroughs. This is something very important to mention. We'll take a left here. This is Flushing.
Flushing Avenue.
Let's cross here. Up here on the left is Shops at the Loom. You can see here on the corner. This is an old textile mill. They used to make pillows, actually. Today it's like a shopping mall. It's like a co-op where the vendors are all, you know, small artists and craftspeople, and they buy spaces that used to be part of this textile mill. You can go in, you know, buy clothes and little crafts and stuff. Pretty cool.
Shops at the Loom.
Yep.
Yoga centers.
They have yoga, that's right. You like doing yoga? I've never done yoga myself.
Word of mouth is the way to go.
So now we're on Flushing. We're heading a little further east now. We're heading more towards I guess the street art portion of the walk. But I was saying before, Brooklyn is actually one of 5 boroughs. It's important to keep in mind. A lot of people, when they visit New York or they've heard of New York City, they associate it with Manhattan because that's where all the, you know, the fanciest and most famous things in New York are, like the Empire State Building, Times Square, the M&M store, you know. But it's only one of 5 boroughs. Manhattan isn't even the biggest by population or by land. By population, Brooklyn's the biggest with almost well, a little over 2.5 million people. Brooklyn is its own city, but the 4th largest city in the country. Then you have Queens, then you have Manhattan. And Brooklyn is pretty big by land as well. The biggest by land is Queens, which is almost 5 times the size of Manhattan by land. And then Brooklyn, which is over 3 times the size of Manhattan by land. So, you got some more street art up here on the right. Pretty cool.
How often does the street art change, do you know?
Very, very often. I mean, it depends on the piece, it depends on the popularity of the piece, but it's all, we'll see the real heart of what's called the Bushwick Collective, Bushwick Art Collective, a little further down. But it's actually like curated pretty much, like there's certain artists and you see another one here. A man named Joe Ficcolaro actually started it. Like I believe it was 2012, 2011, he started it. It's an interesting kind of story. You'll see more of it once we keep walking.
Wow, even the trucks are decorated.
I know, right? People even paint the trucks. But he started it because his mom passed away, and he said that everything in the neighborhood reminded him of his mom, and he wanted to clean up the neighborhood that he was from originally. He was from here originally. So he started to basically recruit artists. He would send emails, like cold send emails to people to come paint here, come paint here. A lot of people turned him down, but then some people did, and they were, thrilled to have a blank canvas to work with, and the rest, I guess, is history. And now it's become kind of like a model. Different cities from around the world, or kind of neighborhoods around the world, are trying to copy the same thing. You have like, what's a good example? Like maybe Wynwood in Miami is an example of a neighborhood trying to do the same thing.
Well, there's a place in Astoria that's coming up in street art too, called
is that right?
Court. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Didn't see that.
Yeah, I didn't see it on camera. It was pointed straight.
Good. I almost tripped. Someone put something in the street. But yeah, so we're walking east. One of the cool things I always mention when I talk about the different boroughs of New York is that it's one of the reasons why New York can still be a city, a diverse city with artists and immigrants, is because the outer boroughs provide a place where people can still live relatively affordably, Because Manhattan has gotten so expensive, it's next to impossible for anyone who's not a millionaire to live there. I guess we can cross.
Yeah, it's just weird. There's no light here. Oh, you got to go by that one, but.
You want me to get over there?
No, it's all right.
That's one of the nice things about New York. It's so gigantic. There's plenty of space for now for lots of different people. That being said, it's still becoming very, very expensive. But like I said before, it's a little bit of history of the Bushwick neighborhood. So Brooklyn was all kind of outside of the city of New Amsterdam. So New Amsterdam was chartered in 1625, and they started to kind of settle Brooklyn in like the 1640s. You start seeing the name Brooklyn in the 1660s, I believe, and it actually derives from Breukelen, which is a town in the Netherlands, and it started to kind of slowly expand out. Now this area was always kind of the outsides of the city. They call Brooklyn America's first suburb. But this whole area, because it was so far out and it was also cheaper, when immigrants started pulling into New York City in the mid-1800s in big, big numbers, a lot of them came out here because it was way cheaper. Specifically Germans in Bushwick in the mid-1800s. Breweries opened, things like that. And then in the early 1900s, Italians started coming in here. In fact, a lot of Brooklyn is famous for its Italian population. Near here, actually, is where Donnie Brasco, if you guys ever heard of the movie Johnny Depp, he actually was in the Williamsburg section of Brooklyn. All that happened in the Williamsburg section of Brooklyn. So, the Italians were here in the early 1900s. There's some old pizzerias nearby here. And then in the mid-1900s, after World War II, a lot of the industry started leaving this area, which made it kind of a destination for immigrants. The problem was the immigrants didn't stop coming in. A lot of the immigrants coming in around that time looking for jobs were Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, African Americans, and they came here to find no jobs. So it became a tough place because people were out of work. By the 70s, it was one of the poorest and most troubled neighborhoods because so many people were out of work and on welfare, which is why they had so much problems during the blackout in 77. If you want to read a great book about the blackout in 77, read The Bronx is Burning. Ladies and gentlemen, The Bronx is Burning. Really great book. It talks about the year of 1977, which was a very momentous year in New York history.
Oh, I almost got hit by a string there.
That would have been a disaster.
Yeah.
Come on.
The camera didn't catch that either. It's missing the best moments.
It's good. So what's interesting too now is that Brooklyn, everyone says Brooklyn's starting to change, and it is. It's starting to become more expensive, and neighborhoods are being, gentrified, that kind of thing. But what's interesting about it is it's not something that's unique to New York either. I mean, the difference between the 60s and 70s and the 80s and today is that people want to live in the cities now, right? People are moving to cities and the city center rather than the suburbs, people with money. The dream is no longer to have your own suburb house with a white picket fence and a dog running around. It's to live in the city where all the action is. I mean, just look at culture, look at TV shows, right? The sitcoms in the 70s, 80s, and even early 90s was all living in the suburbs and, all that stuff. Today, all the TV shows are in the city. It's a cultural shift, baby. Come on. Sweep up. So we're walking now to the other section of Bushwick here. We're going to be near the Jefferson L train stop. I'm going to cross the street. This is another really popular L train stop for Bushwick. This is where a lot of people on Friday nights, Saturday nights, a ton of people run around here. It's really popular.
I did a video on Wyckoff the whole way pretty much.
So up here on the right, you can see that colorful building. It's the House of Yes, a really popular nightclub. They have all these crazy nights, like circus nights and neon nights. And if you dress up in certain ways, they'll give you a discount at the door and all that stuff, or let you in free, that kind of thing. Some great taco trucks and burrito trucks on the street. You can get the subway. So let's take a left on Jefferson. You can see the entrance to the House of Yes, and then over there next to it, there's a little bar called Cobra Club. I really recommend checking out Cobra Club. It's cool. They have a really great comedy show on Friday nights, actually. But a really cool little bar and restaurant. People hang out there during the day. They even do yoga and karaoke, all kinds of stuff there. So now we're kind of more in the heart of, I guess, what's going to become the Bushwick Collective. You'll see different walls and big pieces, kind of big spaces and canvases reserved for artists, street artists from all over the world. Like Brazil, different people from Iran, people from all different parts of the world come here to put their pieces up because it gives them, eyeballs. People see it.
Oh, I'm not tripping over this.
Don't trip over that, Ken. There you go, start seeing some pieces. It's Count Chocula, wow. Look at that.
Count Chocula, I don't know what that is.
That guy right there, you don't know who that is? Is this from the cereal?
No, I mean the
the other
woman.
one? It's cool though.
Yeah. And part of it got graffitied over,
That's
which
right.
is
Unfortunate.
not good.
You see some other ones, culture vultures. This is another one here to the left, check it out.
Oh, wow.
You're allowed to put middle fingers on your videos? That's
Yeah,
very
why not?
vulgar, Ken. You be careful, you'll get some complaints from mothers. You see some other
Might not be safe for children, right?
That's right, not safe for children, not safe for work. NSFW, baby. See old paintings. Here's some other ones over here on the left. There you can see under the names, under their signatures, you can see they put Bushwick Collective. That's how you know it's a part of the Bushwick Collective. Another cool piece
Bushwick
here.
Collective.
Yeah, it's cool, right?
Oh, yeah.
People think the street art's just going to be like, Johnny was here or something, but this is real stuff. It's old paintings
It
and
is.
stuff. You see a lot more over here. Check it out. This is cool. By the way, we're at the corner of Jefferson and St. Nicholas. To give you an idea where we are. See this one here to the left? It's pretty cool.
Oh, wow. Really neat.
Yeah. Here's, we'll go down this way too. Show you a couple more. You can see some more over here. That one's actually, unfortunately, a little bit vandalized over there on the end. You see some more over here.
Yeah, I don't get the people who vandalize the art.
Yeah, I guess, imagine it comes from a place of frustration. That's how, you know, people vent the frustration. They were, I mean, like in the 70s, for example, graffiti's when it took off, and that's because New York was in the can. People would tag all the subways, they'd tag all the, you know, walls, and graffiti really got started then. And I imagine it's from a place of frustration, just a way to express yourself, express your feelings. So there's even like a special like lingo for people who do street art. I remember hearing the toy is what they call people who try to do street art and it looks just crappy. that person's considered a toy. I remember reading that somewhere. That sounded really funny. So we're gonna keep walking here. We're on St. Nicholas now. We're heading towards Troutman. One of the other streets, principal streets of the Bushwick Collective. See some cool pieces there as well.
There's another one, Bushwick Collective in 2019.
You can see all the little pieces up there too, here to the right. There's a bunch over here, you'll see.
Oh,
that
wow.
one right there, it's cool, right? See this one here to the left? You see a bunch here. You gotta make sure you get all these. Check it out, over here to the left. You got some more. You got Ren and Stimpy.
Yeah, I see
A lot
that.
of you millennials, young millennials may not know who that is. They were great. Good little, got some more here. The guy with the big ears. Got some more here on this little restaurant here. Got a couple cool ones over here as well.
Wow, they even had to clean over the
pretty cool,
electric
right?
meter and everything.
Roskolowski is the name of the artist there.
Uh-huh.
And you got some other ones over here on the other side.
Wow, look at all those donuts.
You getting hungry there, Ken?
Yeah, I'm getting hungry. All the flowers too.
Yeah, so these are cool ones as well. Cypros.
Cypros.
Uh-huh. You can see they put all their tags and stuff. This is kind of cool. You see like lots of little like stencils and stuff. I think, you know, people know Banksy is Banksy. I'm not saying it's Banksy, but he made the kind of stencils kind of famous. The whole idea behind a stencil is it allows you to make a piece much quicker. You can cut the stencil in a studio and just go up somewhere and just fill it in. So you can get away from police and from people who are getting you in trouble for tagging. It's kind of cool. That's how stencils kind of became a thing.
Ah.
We got more pieces here. Notorious B.I.G. Famous Brooklynite from Bed-Stuy, actually, which is the neighborhood south of Bushwick, by the way. A couple famous people from Bushwick. Eddie Murphy's from Bushwick. Rosie Perez from Bushwick. Jackie Gleason also, but he's more kind of Bed-Stuy, but he's around this area, further south. So now we're walking down Troutman. See a lot more over here to the right. Oh, I want a B.I.G.
Yeah, the tower's even decorated up there too.
Yeah, it's cool, right?
Don't know how they get up there, but
probably a ladder.
sometimes I see graffiti in the city. I don't even want to begin how they get up there. Or
Right. Well, they use cranes now and everything. So another thing to
they
keep in
use
mind.
cranes.
Oh yeah. So another thing to keep in mind is that there's a difference between street art and graffiti. Graffiti is usually like vandalism, you know, someone who just, whatever, street art is
Yeah.
something that was commissioned. The owners and landowners or landlords allow people to make these pieces, which is why they get so much time to work on them, and they can make them so detailed and nice. So part of that is, if you're going to allow someone to work on something, you're also going to allow them to bring, let's say, elevators and cranes to get people up to a certain height to be able to finish a piece. Which is why these things can be so elaborate. You can't make this in, you know, 20 minutes or 5 minutes in the middle of the night. You have to have time.
Oh yeah.
So that's a big difference. That's why it's street art, not graffiti. So it's very colorful. See, like
yeah.
this right here.
Might be hard to see with the sun though, but
Yeah.
I'll try.
Do what you gotta do, man. It is bright.
No, it's still coming out okay.
Yeah, we've got ourselves a beautiful January day in New York. It's like 65 degrees. This is insane.
Unbelievable.
It's horrifying, frankly. It's not normal, man. It's supposed to be cold. Look at that. Old school wrestlers.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. I think that's Vigo the Carpathian from Ghostbusters 2.
Ah.
Little Ghostbusters 2 reference. We got some more over here on the right. All right, let's go. There's artichoke pizza, one of the artichokes. It started here in New York, I think in 2008 as well. 2009, but now there's artichokes all over the city.
Including one in Astoria.
That's right. It's famous for its artichoke pizza. It's like basically pizza covered in artichoke dip. It's not that great. It's okay. It's good. It's very rich. It's hard to eat it. There's another big piece right there. Pretty cool.
Till death do us part. Very nice.
Pretty cool thing too, I guess, to keep in mind is like a lot of this in Brooklyn, especially. One of the reasons why it took so long to kind of populate is because it was isolated. And one of the big things that allowed New York City, including Brooklyn, to become spread out was the subway. The subway didn't even start until the early 1900s. In Brooklyn, just a little bit later, I think like 1920s or something. So before that, it was a pain to get out here. You had theater companies, dance companies out here.
Yeah, Theater 14 across
Yeah, you heard
the
of them?
street. No, I haven't heard of them. I see the name over there.
This is the Kings County Brewers Collective. It's a really popular brewery. They just recently opened like a few years ago actually, but they've become really popular. They've won a bunch of awards, all that stuff. The other thing you're gonna find a lot in this neighborhood is lots of breweries and things like that.
Welcome
Another piece back
to
there on the sides of the buildings. You can see like up on the sides of buildings they have art all out
Oh
as well.
wow.
This is kind of cool. You miss that sometimes.
Yeah.
But those are the kind of things that, you need a ladder, you need a crane or something to get up there. So they're going to allow you to do it, obviously. And more over here to the left.
This one says welcome to the
World.
world.
Yeah. Although it says welcome to the worst. All LD is scratched out.
Oh.
Oof, very cynical. Your little baby here, no womb. This is not graffiti, it's reality.
Yeah.
How much for your life? There's another one here.
Big blue monster across the street.
Looks like one of the where the wild things are type thing.
Reminds me of Monsters Inc. The Disney movie.
Yeah, it's interesting. It reminds me of Where the Wild Things Are. Remember that movie?
I haven't
that
seen
book
it.
And all that? James Gandolfini was in it. I just recently, I'm almost done with The Sopranos, by the way. It's amazing. It's an amazing show. I feel like I'm stating the obvious, but it's incredible. Another cool piece. kind of interesting too. I was talking about how before, so the 5 boroughs didn't come into existence until the year 1898. Before that, they were all their own city, including Brooklyn. Brooklyn was its own city. What's interesting too is it didn't, when it united with New York City, which at the time was now Manhattan. Yeah, those were 2 of the biggest cities in the country coming together. It was a really big deal. But Brooklyn had its own pride. It had its own big newspaper. The Brooklyn Daily Eagle was like its own New York Times. Like it had its own thing. So it resisted uniting with New York for a very long time. And in 1898, it finally did because it needed the money and the water of New York City. But that's one of the reasons why there's still so much Brooklyn pride in people and whatnot, is because it was always its own thing until fairly recently, 1898. That's not that long ago.
A little over 120 years ago.
Yeah. Nice work. That's math right there. That's some impressive math.
Well, it's easy because now we enter the new decade, right?
That's right. That's right. So we're going to take a left here. This is Irving. Very famous New Yorker, Washington Irving, the man who coined Knickerbocker. He coined Gotham. He coined the name Gotham, which is like goat town type thing. It's kind of like a nickname for the city, Gotham.
Batman reference too.
That's right, Batman reference.
Gotham
That's what they
City.
got, Gotham City. So you can see too, it's like a lot of like little homes. This area was really just kind of working class. Was working class for a very long time. So a lot of like little homes and townhouses. Also too, a lot of these buildings are being scooped up for a lot of money right now. People who paid almost nothing for them, maybe $150,000 for them in the 70s or even later, are now selling these buildings for, millions of dollars. This is all like in the last, 10, 15 years. Let's take across the street here. This is Star Street. We're going to be heading into Maria Hernandez Park. Very nice little park in this area. The other thing to keep in mind is that Bushwick is humongous. It's very big. So we're really kind of in the northern part of it, the part that kind of borders what they call, well, we just started where they call East Williamsburg, although I hate calling it that. It's something they're kind of trying to bring back to make it more exclusive and expensive. So a lot of people from the neighborhood don't like calling it East Williamsburg because they know that it's a little sinister. They called it that before, but it never stuck, and now they're trying to make it stick so they can start selling things in East Williamsburg for more money. Something they do in New York. They try to make things more exclusive, like that's where, so when Soho got the name Soho in the 1960s and 70s, it started
The Lower
becoming
East Side
Yeah.
never used to include the East Village.
That's right. Now at the East Village, it's its own thing. You have like Nolita, North Little Italy, all these little. So Soho stands for South of Houston. Tribeca, Triangle Below Canal. They have all these different like abbreviations and nicknames just to make something more exclusive and more expensive. It's no coincidence that Tribeca and Soho are the 2 most expensive neighborhoods in the city.
Just make your own neighborhood. It'll be more expensive.
Yep.
Right?
So this is Maria Hernandez Park, and I can speak. It's named after Maria Hernandez, who was a resident of this neighborhood, who actually took up a fight against drugs and stuff in the 1980s. She really, really fought and pushed drug enforcement and cleaning up the neighborhood. And she was murdered here in 1989. She was shot through her window 5 times. So they named the park after her. It used to be called Knickerbocker Park. But it's a really pretty park. You see all the people hanging out, see all the people sitting around, really cool.
Nice penguin in the middle. And a lot of people around here.
Yeah, it's great.
Reminds me a little bit of like McCarran Park a little bit.
Yeah, same kind of demographic.
Yeah.
A lot of younger people, artists, and people starting out in their careers and stuff. Can't afford to live in Manhattan.
Yeah. McCarran Park is in Williamsburg, by the way.
That's right. McCarran Park is it's actually on the border of Williamsburg and Greenpoint. I used to live in Greenpoint. Great neighborhood. Also starting to be very fancy too.
Nice neighborhood playground here.
Yep.
It's a beautiful day. That's why everybody's out
I know,
right now.
it's crazy. I think people were a little scared though. They're like, what's going on? This isn't like the nice days you get at the beginning of spring because people are so weirded out that it's nice today. It's January. It's like the middle of January. It's insane. Yeah, there's a lot of people out.
So now this is considered like the border of the other side of Bushwick, or?
Well, kind of. We're heading now down towards, so really the border of the south part of Bushwick is Broadway, which kind of divides Bushwick divides Bushwick from Bed-Stuy, bedford-stuyvesant. It's where like Biggie's from, Jay-Z's from there. That's further south. That's kind of the part of Bushwick that's now being kind of more developed because it was under the J train, which wasn't as convenient as the L train. And so the L train, what the realtors called the L train corridor, was what they really started developing out, just further and further out. One of the cool things about this neighborhood too. Want to keep walking, or what do you want to do?
Let's keep walking. People throwing
trees.
out the Christmas tree there.
You see like the different, diversity in Brooklyn. Brooklyn, Queens is the most diverse county in New York, but then Brooklyn is very close second. But you see like Mexican restaurants, a lot of Latinos in this neighborhood. You see, Pakistani restaurants, all kind of stuff.
Yeah, everything's here. Wow,
It's great. But you can also see like these big new high-rises that are going up. Well, not high-rises, big taller buildings. Look a little out of place. This is all in the last 10 years. What ends up happening is neighborhoods like this aren't really planned for or laid out for this kind of density. So the more big buildings like that go up, like the ones that have gone up to Williamsburg, the more of a toll it plays, and it puts on the actual infrastructure, like the subways and the buses. So like the L train now is a disaster. Once you get to Bedford and ⁴ stop, which are the two last stops before Manhattan, then you get packed with people. It's impossible to find seats, it's impossible to get on.
yeah.
It's putting a real toll on the infrastructure. Popularity of Brooklyn is going to get more popular, so.
I think
Across?
we can go, yeah.
Let's do it. What do you want to do, Ken? You want to keep walking?
Let's just go a few blocks in
This
that
way?
way and then end it, yeah.
Let's do it.
Just to show people like what this street is about and
Yeah.
all the different restaurants and stuff here. This is pretty cool.
Yeah. There's another thing too, you got like little bodegas, and this is kind of the culture here in Brooklyn and also in other parts of the outer boroughs. You don't see it as much in Manhattan anymore.
Yeah, you don't.
Because it's hard to stay open as a bodega. I mean, the rents, some of these places, some of the bodegas, I was recently at Gem Spa, the rent for that tiny corner of what is St. Mark's and 2nd Avenue is $17,000 a month. You know how many sun chips you got to sell to pay that rent? So it's impossible. But you don't see them as much anymore. And even though that was really the culture, now you see Targets, you see franchises. The only people who can afford the rents in a place like Manhattan. So that's the fear that people out here are worried that that's what's going to end up coming here once the rents and things start to rise. And that's gonna kill small business, and it's going to kill diversity. Because immigrants who want to start a business, immigrants who want to open up a shop or something, they're not going to be able to compete with that.
I still got the bodegas here, 99-cent store.
Yep.
2 of them on this block across the street.
And it's cool. The nice thing too, people wonder like, oh, what's the big deal about not having a bodega? I'm fine with 7-Eleven. Well, the difference is, it's the investment in the community. The owner of the bodega is there. You learn your name. They get to know you. You trust them. People leave their keys with them. When they have people visiting. You just kind of, it creates community. And you don't create community with a franchise store because 1, all the employees turn over constantly, and 2, the owners and the people at the highest levels of those places have no investment in the neighborhood. So it's it changes something in a neighborhood. It has a detrimental effect, and in a city, that's super necessary. You have to have that.
Wow, there's a lot of people out here.
Yeah, there's a ton of people, man. This is great. January.
I know,
It's
wow.
completely nuts.
This looks like a nice bakery and
Yeah.
pastry shop, wow.
So this is Knickerbocker Avenue. This is a very big drag here in Bushwick.
Yeah. Oh, here's the franchise 99-cent store, Dollar Tree.
The Dollar Tree, right?
No, it doesn't even look like it's open.
No, looks like it's closed. Oh
Wow.
no, it's open. It's open.
Oh,
You want to go in and get
just
some?
those gates there.
Actually, Dollar Tree is where I used to buy my mom's gifts when I was a kid. I'd buy her jewelry from the Dollar Tree, and then I'd always wonder why she never wore it. I was like, Mom, you don't like my bracelets and necklaces? And now I realize that it would have been humiliating. But, you know, it's a thought that counts.
Yeah, that's a thought that counts.
What's cool too is you see lots of like street, they put all this stuff on the street and they're catering to people who are walking the streets and perusing the streets. You're not going to see this once it's all Targets and, you know. Sorry, that sounds really bitter, but it's important. You gotta keep that in mind.
There's a pizzeria over here.
Yep. So it's interesting too, when you're in Manhattan, you see diversity in different places and whatnot. But a lot of the people, you know, the artists and immigrants don't live there because they can't afford it. It's places like, you know, Brooklyn and places like Bushwick and Ridgewood and places in Queens where they actually live and work and go to their restaurants because that's where they can afford. Myself included, but it's that's what's kind of cool about these neighborhoods. Like you kind of feel like we're real kind of New York is like, it's supposed to be like.
Oh, definitely.
So it's kind of a cool thing, you know?
You can't get more New York than this, I think. I think we can end it at this block, though.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think what's cool, too, is like, it's an important thing to keep in mind. There's a really great quote about New York that I always like to mention on my tours, is that E.B. White, the author of Charlotte's Web, and he wrote Stuart Little, he says, natives give New York its solidity and continuity, commuters give it its tidal restlessness, but settlers give it passion. And I think that's a super important thing to keep in mind, is that the passion of New York is what defines it. It's that's what the energy is.
Actually, the subway's right there, right?
You know? Yeah, the subway's really close.
Let's walk there, why not?
You want to walk to it? Let's go.
Right there, that one.
Oh, that one, okay. Let's do it.
Yeah.
But I think that's a really cool thing to keep in mind. You know, everyone, you know, from other big cities always like to look at New York and compare their city to New York, but that's one of the things that New York has over any other place, I think. People come here with purpose and objective, hunger for something, because you have to have it, otherwise you don't last here. It's too loud, dirty, expensive, crowded, whatever. So if you have it, only here will you get the energy to kind of push for what you're trying to accomplish. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting sentimental. What can I say? We're still walking on Knickerbocker here. We're walking towards the other subway line. One of the other subway lines that runs through Bushwick.
Watch out for the puddle.
So when Brooklyn was actually was kind of its own place, its own city, it started out as actually 6 parishes, divided up in 6 parishes, and Bushwick or Bushwick or however you want to pronounce the Dutch was one of them, and it included Williamsburg and Greenpoint back then. There's a little history.
Now there's a grocery store on the corner here.
Yeah, a little grocery store. One of the big scandals recently, they opened the Wegmans in Brooklyn. Did you see that?
Oh yeah. I saw
Wegmans
that.
is a massive grocery store that just opened in, further downtown in Brooklyn, but everyone's freaking out. Rightfully so, I think, because it's such a huge place, put out a lot of businesses out of business around it. But it's interesting, people forget that, like, all these huge chains and all this stuff used to be afraid of New York. They didn't want to touch New York because it wasn't, you know, as safe, it wasn't as, you know, lucrative, I guess, in that regard. For example, 7-Eleven, we're talking about bodegas, 7-Eleven wasn't in New York. They left New York in the early 80s because they're like, screw it, no one wants to buy our stuff. And they have their bodegas, they have their own system. They didn't come back till like 2005. They opened one store near Madison Square Park to give it a go, to see how much the city really had changed, and it did okay. So they've opened them all over now.
Wow.
And you know, that also goes for other franchises and stores that have done the same. Dunkin' Donuts, Starbucks, they've opened all over. Got some more art and stuff on the walls over here too.
Ah, there it
Here
is.
as well. This is the M train that we're going to be walking towards and ending at. M train, if you continue it through Bushwick, and get to Ridgewood, which is technically Queens. That's where I live, actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, look at that.
So it's convenient for you.
That's right. We're going to go to my house and hang out. Watch TV on my couch. There it is.
We just passed by a rolled ice cream place.
Yeah.
I think that's a fad now.
Yeah, I don't care for it. A ton of ice cream places in New York now. Oh, look at that. We're at the Knickerbocker
Avenue Station. With a lot of pigeons here.
Pigeons, cool, right?
Wait for this train to pass by before we say the outro. Okay, let's end the video here.
Yeah.
All right, everyone.
Hey, guys.
If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Check out Tom's channel.
Tom
'cause
DNYC
he's
is my
amazing.
channel.
Also,
Yeah.
you can sign up for one of his tours. He does
Yeah,
the Secrets
sure.
of New York tour and some other ones,
Yeah, yeah.
and some other ones in Chinatown, I
Yeah.
think. And I don't
Yeah.
know what else he does, but
Yeah, I do some tour. I have my own channel, Tom DNYC. I do the Secrets of New York tour for Sarah Funk. Actually, has a great channel as well. And yeah, then just do stand up around the city. Yeah, check out my channel. Subscribe, please.
all right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
See you.
Catch you all later.